Hello, I'm Graham Emerson, and welcome to Lidline Sports with my co-host, Seattle sports enthusiast, Renault Bean. We call him Pepe. What up, bro?
Hey, what
Ready to put in this work?
Of course.
Yeah. Enough already. Stop with the formalities. Let's just bring on the three-peat heavyweight fight between the Cavs and the Warriors.
Yes.
Everything
absolutely.
else is just pretense.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's it?
Well,
You ready to go straight to it? Forget the rest of these dudes? Both the Cavaliers and the Warriors are sweeping their way through the playoffs.
Well, right now what's happening is the Cavs and the Warriors are just going to rest up and let the other teams beat themselves up and then feast on the leftovers.
You know what Kevin Durant did in switching teams from OKC to the Warriors?
Yeah, he made the West weak as the East.
Yeah, he made the West into the East. Everybody talks about how basketball is weak in the East, but the West just as bad the way the Cavs and the Warriors are running roughshod
Yeah.
all over those dudes. We'll talk NBA playoffs on today's show. We'll spotlight the 5 University of Washington Huskies drafted in this year's NFL draft. We'll talk Seahawks offensive line issues under Pete Carroll and John Snyder. And what's up with Nathan Hill's Brandon Roy?
Yeah, what is up?
I don't know, man. Talk about going from a big high and being the number one coach with the number one team, with the number one player in the nation, and getting shot. And we'll talk about all that and try to get to some more stuff here on Lidline News. Before we do anything, though, a kid asked me the other day, he said, "Coach, you like the new Lavar ball shoes?" Lavar balls?
Yeah, I think it means Lonzo Ball, but whatever. 6 and 1 after the other. Man.
LeVar Ball, he's got to take a step back and let his kid take a step forward. And kids think that his shoes, the shoes that he's supposed to be putting out in his big baller brand,
right.
Kids are calling them LeVar Balls. He's not playing. He ain't never played a day in the NBA.
Right. They know who's running that show.
The Lonzo Ball ZO2 sneakers, tennis shoes, basketball shoes. Matter of fact, you lived on the East Coast. In the East Coast, they call them sneakers, right?
Correct.
West Coast, we call them tennis shoes.
Right.
Yeah, so, and then, there are, I guess, basketball shoes, high-end
right.
basketball shoes.
I don't know, whatever, I don't know what they call them in between, Midwest or South, but, yeah. But you're correct. It's sneakers or tennis shoes or tenny runners.
Did you pre-order yours? You got to pre-order them, y'all.
Oh, man. I debated. I thought about it. I said, maybe I should help this brother out. $500 for sneakers and up, of course. But, I thought long and hard, and I realized that, man, I ain't paying $500 for no doggone sneakers. Man, please.
All I know is
I didn't even pay for Jordans.
Hey, I bought one pair of Jordans, and I bought them from the outlet.
Yeah, I got mine from
Nike
Ross.
outlet. You got yours from Ross?
Ross.
Nike outlet here, baby.
$50. It was smooth.
The Lonzo Ball ZO2 sneakers, they're taking pre-orders that starts at $495, and if you wear a size 14 or larger, it's going to cost you $695.
Ooh.
They got autographed copies starting at $995.
Yes.
For an autograph.
They call it wet.
They call it wet?
Wet, because of the signature. Man, I don't know.
So the signature looks wet?
I guess.
So the signature right now is worth $400 more per sneaker.
Right. Man.
Now, I'm all for, I said this on previous broadcasts, I'm all for LeVar Ball and what he's trying to do with taking the power from the shoe companies and giving it to him and their family.
Okay.
I'm all for that.
Right.
I'm all for him putting out his own sneaker. I'm all for him putting out his own line of apparel.
Sure.
We see Marshawn Lynch doing this with Beast Mode.
Right.
It's all good to do that, but I think that when I heard $495, I'm like, man, you're tripping.
Yeah.
His philosophy is big baller sneakers. If you're not a big baller, then you can't afford them anyway.
Right.
Right. So
that's insulting, but yeah, correct.
Right. I mean, hey, it's insulting to people who really can't afford it. I mean, I have to give Shaquille O'Neal his props.
Right.
Shaquille O'Neal's sneakers sells for around $60,
mm-hmm.
and he sold 120 million shoes at Walmart.
Yeah, and that adds up.
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, those are affordable shoes. Now, the big baller shoes are supposed to be for folks that can afford it. The day that they came out, there were memes going around saying that he had sold 5,000 sneakers,
right.
and he had already made $2.5 million, and he was a genius. And that because he listed them for $495, he had everybody everywhere talking about the big baller brand and talking about the sneaker, which was true, but the reality is they only sold 296 sneakers in the first hour. I mean, first 24 hours.
Right.
Right? Not 5,000.
That's crazy.
That is a big difference.
Yes. But can I tell you my concern with this shoe here for a minute? Where do you wear those? And if you're wearing them out in the street somewhere, aren't you worried about getting jacked? Like Jordans used to be? I mean, I'm not trying to be try to bring up a bad, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where if you can afford to pay $500 for some shoes, I don't know where you wearing them on the street where you would get jacked.
Right. Well, I mean, it seems crazy.
He's kind of put it in the category like Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all of that. Mm-hmm. And people, there are women that are walking around carrying $600, $700, $800 purses.
Correct.
And so he's put it kind of in that line.
But those purses aren't on the ground getting scuffed up or getting stepped on and whatnot. That's what I'm.
Yeah, but you're talking about people jacking them for shoes.
But I mean, there's other things too. Like I just said, scuffed up. People stepping on your shoes. People getting killed for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I remember, I don't know how people, strain up and struggle up to get that stuff and pay that amount of money for material things like that. That's not my style, but, to each his own.
Right.
I know that Michael Bennett bought him 2 pairs. He said he wanted to support the brother, so I'm waiting to see somebody.
Well, he can obviously afford it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see somebody sport them, walking down the street with them on. I don't know, but that is a possibility. I remember this kid came in my job one day when I was living in Los Angeles with no shoes on. Asked me could he use the phone, saying somebody jacked him for his shoes. Right. And so I was leaving the building while he was coming in, and I'm like, why? How come you don't have no shoes on? It's like somebody jacked me for my shoes, for my Jordan. Like, what'd you have, Jordans? He was like, yeah. So, that kind of nonsense could happen, but
definitely.
Just to be correct, NiceKicks.com tracked the total sales for Big Baller, and it was 263 pairs of sneakers that sold, both signed and unsigned versions of ZO2 Prime in the first 24 hours. That's
God bless him.
Speaking of dumb stuff, how about that nonsense that went down in Boston with Baltimore Orioles center fielder Adam Jones?
Yeah, that, once again, racism rears its ugly head. It's 2017, folks, and we're still dealing with this kind of stuff.
I know. I thought we dealt with that with Jackie Robinson back in the 40s.
Well, Boston has always had the reputation of being a racist town. I've been to Boston, and it's a nice town. And Seattle actually has patterned some of its streets after that city, like Boylston and Lynn, and Massachusetts, of course, and Boston. So it's not all bad. I mean, they got, listen, if you go to Boston, you got to get a lobster roll. You have to. Just like when you go to New Orleans, you got to have a po' boy or gumbo. So, but
they weren't throwing lobster rolls at Adam Jones. They were hurling racial epithets at him while he was out in center field and throwing bags of peanuts at him.
And to have the suggestion that it didn't happen, I mean, is insulting for one thing. Adam Jones is not going to go out in the outfield and you know, while waiting to shag flies, think, you know, what can I do today? How can I stir things up? I mean, really?
Yeah, that's
makes no sense.
That's insane. And the thing is, I will give it to the rest of the Boston fans. The next night, they gave Adam Jones a standing ovation during his first at bat.
Right.
And
they did ban a fan for life.
And he should be banned.
Right.
But it is systemic of the racism that is in America still today. And people need to stand up against people like that if we want this country to be the best that it can be.
Right.
No, everybody's not racist. No, everybody in Boston is not racist.
No.
But there is a faction of people that need to be put down, and they need several seats and not be allowed to just spew hatred and get away with it.
Right.
So, kudos to the mayor and the governor of Massachusetts for taking a stand and saying that won't be allowed in the city. So, hey, speaking of baseball, the Mariners, the comeback kids. Who'd have thought it?
Really?
Hey, they won 2 home series. They came from behind. Previous year Mariner squads, if they were down going into later innings, they would not come back.
No.
These dudes have battled back. They've been battling against injury, and they're still hovering around 500.
Well, and that's what. But I said this before, G, that this is where they're going to be at throughout the whole season. They're going to struggle. They're going to win a few, lose a few. It's going to be up and down, back and forth. And by the end of the season, they're going to be somewhere around 81-81, 79-83, something like that.
Now, how can you say that, though?
I can't.
They've had all these injuries, and they're still around 500. They got
but
Felix
who says they
out.
can't have more injuries?
They got Paxton out.
Right.
They got Seager out.
Seager ain't out. He playing.
And he hurt, and he's not hurt.
Seager's playing. He just won a game. He just hit a game winner the other night. So
I thought he was hurt.
No.
Okay. Who's the other dude that's hurt?
Hanniger.
Yeah, okay. Hanniger's out.
Yes.
Right.
That's a key one.
Right. That's 3 key dudes.
Right.
He's what?
He was the hottest thing going for a while.
Yeah. So, you know, give the Mariners some props. They're battling. And give Scott Service and give Jerry DiPoto some props for juggling their lineup, going to get
I did that last show, remember?
You gave him props?
Remember that? I said I liked what Service did by getting, by sending down what's his name, Martin. He said, "See you later."
Well, he needed to go. Yeah, one hit, 20 games.
And they just sent down Zunino, who was batting like 167. So look, if you're not performing, Service ain't having it, and kudos to that.
Yeah.
So listen,
let's go.
I think it's
Mariners.
Better. I'm hoping it'll get better, but I'm telling you, I still see the same pattern, bro.
Hey, if they get
how about those?
If they get Felix back,
York.
If they get Felix back, if they get Paxton back, we better hope that Paxton does not have a Tommy John injury and it's
it's his forearm so far, yeah.
And if we get Hanniger back, they could be doing some damage. Because like I told you, those bats would be coming around.
Well,
we're trying to switch it to the Yankees. Ain't nobody thinking about no Yankees.
There's plenty of people out there liking that Yankees.
There are plenty of people on the East Coast. Up here in the North and West, ain't nobody thinking about no Yankees.
Listen, you go to Safeco when the Yankees come to town. There's Yankee jerseys, hats, everywhere.
3 weeks ago, you didn't even know who the best player in the Yankees was.
So what? It was April, man. I was still locked into football.
It's early. It's early. That's what I keep trying to tell you. It's early in the baseball season. How about that Alvarez Chavez fight? Did you see that?
Man, that fight wasn't no fight, bro.
Man, you know what? I almost paid my money to go see that fight. And I said, nah.
You would have been paying for a sparring match because the real fight, supposedly, is September 16th. And that's proven because right after this fight, they brought out Gennady
Golovkin.
Yes. And did the promo and preview for a fight that's basically already signed. So this fight here was just, it's an embarrassment to Chavez's name.
Chavez and Golovkin. Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin.
Right.
Triple G.
Triple G.
September 16th is the fight of all fights. They've been talking about this fight for a year. It's the biggest fight in boxing.
Right.
And many people thought that it wouldn't happen. Because, boxing, fights don't have to happen in boxing.
No.
You need two promoters to really say, okay, we're going to make this fight happen. Instead of going and fighting some other dudes and avoiding each other, let's give them some props for making this fight happen.
Right. Absolutely.
Coming on the heels of the big heavyweight fight in London. And now this fight, which will be the fight of the year for sure. And maybe boxing is coming back. I'm going to do this, Pep.
Okay.
I am going to spend my $10 and go to Twin Peaks and watch the fight.
Oh.
You need to come with me.
I'll come with you.
Right? Back to Twin Peaks. We're at Twin Peaks for going away celebration,
Right.
and had to pay $10 for a UFC fight.
Right.
I didn't watch UFC. Who was fighting? Do you remember?
Man, I don't even know.
But Twin Peaks is the spot where you pay $10 to watch the fight. I will be watching Alvarez and Triple G on September 16th. For those of you who don't know about those two fighters, they are both really, really good fighters. Alvarez is a tactician with nice counter punches.
Right.
And
Chavez could not deal with.
And Triple G will knock you out. He comes after you. And so we're waiting to see who's going to win that, the dude that comes after the fighter to see if they can knock them out, or the one that has all kinds of counters and may catch him and knock him out. So we're looking forward to that.
Yes.
You're listening to Lidline Sports with Granville Emerson and Renault Pepe Bean.
Holla.
Since 2010, the Seahawks have drafted more offensive linemen than anyone in the league, Pep.
Yes.
You remember such first-round standouts as Russell Okung?
Yes.
You used to love Russ, didn't
Well,
you?
you know what? His first 2 years here, he was great. He was Pro Bowl. But you know what? He kept getting hurt. And, he missed 3-4 games, come back for a game or two, getting hurt again. And then so he became expendable. You see, he lasted 1 year in Denver. He's already gone from there.
Well, give him some props, man. He signed a bigger contract to go to L.A. I was going to say San Diego, to go to the L.A. Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
So, Russell Okung represented himself when he left the Seahawks
and went to Denver.
Went to Denver and didn't sign that big of a deal. But the contract that he has now is a really substantial contract with the San Diego Chargers.
LA.
Yeah, well, you all know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And until they play a game, they're still going to be the San Diego Chargers to me. So the Los Angeles Chargers are still trying to figure out who's going to go see them play. That's going to be interesting. But James Carpenter from Mississippi State was supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to be the road grader, the guy to open up holes.
Another guy that always got
Marshawn
hurt.
Lynch. Yeah, both these two dudes are injury prone.
Yeah.
Russell Okung is my fraternity brother, very good guy in the community. Had a couple good years with the Seahawks, Super Bowl champion.
Right.
But James Carpenter was a bust.
Yes.
He was a bust.
Pretty much.
He was a flat-out bust.
Went to the Jets.
Yeah.
And he played okay, but, he teamed up with...
For a first-round draft pick,
right,
he's a bust.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I agree totally.
Yeah, and so we'll see what becomes of Jermaine Effetti in his second year out of Texas A&M. Big dude. You can't get any more bigger and be a guard and skilled than Jermaine Effetti is supposed to be. He was the guy that was pegged to be the one who solidified our offensive line with the Seattle Seahawks. But we have not seen that materialize yet.
No.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right.
While you going, go ahead with it.
All right.
Speak up now.
Yeah.
Talk for yourself.
All right. Here's the thing on some of these draft picks they've been drafting. The Seahawks consider themselves a running team, do they not?
Yep.
And they draft guys that can blow out blow you open, create running lanes. However, they're not very proficient at what? Protecting.
Pass blocking.
Right. And see, the difference between when Seattle drafts an offensive lineman and let's say when the Patriots draft or the Packers draft an offensive lineman, they draft guys that can pass protect primarily. So there's your difference right there. So you can't expect these guys to become elite pass blockers when their specialty is run blocking. And Seattle, when they had Marshawn Lynch, that was what their focus was. But they don't have him anymore. And sometimes, they got Eddie Lacy now and they got Rawls. So they like to still think that they're a running team, and they very well could be. But I'm kind of wondering maybe they could change up a little bit and maybe try to draft some pass protection.
Well, that's the great genius Tom Capel, who believes that they can draft guys who run block and teach them how to pass block, since they're supposed to be a run-first offense.
So why can't he do the opposite?
Because that's not his forte, obviously. So they've drafted 16 offensive linemen since 2010. My problem is every year they're tinkering with their offensive line.
Right.
Every year. I'm like, well, draft some dudes and let's keep some dudes together for a minute like the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Right? And let them gel and have some continuity and consistency to their lineup. There's different dudes in the lineups every year.
Yeah, and stop drafting defensive guys and making them offensive linemen.
Yeah, I mean, they've had all kind of experiments. I mean, they've had defensive tackles playing center.
Right.
They've got basketball power forwards playing left tackle. And so that has been, to me, the problem with the offensive line. Let's draft some linemen and let's get to getting with it. I mean, I like what we have now. We have depth on our offensive line. We have young players. We have veterans. Last year, we didn't have any veterans.
Right.
The communication on the offensive line was bad. Britt was learning how to play the center position. He was learning the communication, the calls.
Yeah.
Because on the offensive line, the center is like the quarterback. He's got to get all the protections and communicate that to the offensive lineman. And so the protections were bad last year because the communication was bad because George Fant at left tackle, which is your blind spot if you're a right-hand quarterback, was his first time playing offensive line in the NFL. And so they had a whole lot of stuff going on. But now, here's the projected starting lineup, Pep.
Okay.
They got Luke Jokel, who we got from Jacksonville, free agent at left tackle.
Yes.
Mark Glowinski, in his second year starting at left guard.
Right.
Justin Britt, who had nearly an all-pro season in his first year at center.
Yeah, he really came on towards the end of the year and solidified that.
Jermaine Ifedi, in his second year at right guard.
Showed quite a bit of improvement.
Yep.
Towards the end of the year.
Yep. And Ode Abushi, who signed as a free agent from Houston.
Right.
That's a pretty solid offensive line.
Yes, it is. It's on paper, yes.
On paper, that's a pretty solid offensive line. So I'm thinking that if Luke Jokel can be good,
yes,
he doesn't have to be great.
Right. Just be good.
Just be good. You're a former number 1 draft pick.
Number 2 overall.
Number 2 overall.
Yes.
Just be good, Luke Jokel.
Yes.
If you're good at left tackle and protecting Russ's blind spot, if Mark Glowinski progresses like he did last year, because to me all these dudes have been progressing. Britt, he'll have command of the communication this year, which he did at the end of the last year, maybe all pro. Jermaine Ifedi, second year, he should be a lot more comfortable in what he's doing, a lot more comfortable with his pass protections.
Correct.
Ode Abushi is good.
Yes.
He's good out of Houston. So I'm thinking these dudes, and even Jimmy Graham is a better blocker than he used to be. He couldn't block me before. Matter of fact, he could barely block my grandma.
Well, she's tough.
Yeah, she is. She is tough. And so he's blocking a lot better now. And so I'm looking for the offensive line to be a lot better. George Fant will back up Joko.
Right.
All right. In his second year playing left tackle, he's gotten a lot better. So as they head into OTAs in the month of May, that's off-season organized team activities. It used to be off-season team activities. Then it changed to organized team activities just to be succinct. So you can't be practicing and saying we didn't organize it, but it's out there. So this is official. So you don't get in trouble in organized team activities. So, and you got Reese Odeyambo. These some names,
man,
boy.
Speak English, bro.
His name is not English. It's African. But he's in his second year. Joey Hunt and Ethan Posick, the number one offensive lineman drafted in the second round of the Seattle Seahawks. And we also drafted Justin Sr. in the 6th round. And so he's a right tackle on the depth chart. So they got some depth on the offensive line. And so I'm looking for the offensive line to be a lot better.
Yes.
And if the offensive line is a lot better and Russell Wilson has more time to find open receivers, their offense is going to be dangerous.
It should be. And he'll be able to find Graham more.
Yes. He's a big target. I don't know.
Right.
So, yeah, you need to look for him more.
Absolutely.
and not only that, our running back situation, where we've got 20,000 running backs right now, but if you look at their depth chart, I'm like, who are all these dudes? And we just signed a running back the other day. We signed dude from San Francisco. I can't even think of what his name is. Mike somebody. But we just got too many running backs, Pete. Eddie Lacy will be the workhorse for us. Then you got
Thomas Rawls.
Of course, Rawls. Scat back.
Smaller guy. You can't find him in the
Hopefully he'll stop trying to run over people.
Yeah, because he gets hurt all the time.
And C.J. Prosite, I'm looking for him to have a great year.
He's an X factor right there. I mean, he can play running back. You can line him up in the slot. The guy's he's that guy that you could just put out there, and he's just a football player.
The success of the Seattle Seahawks is going to rely on their offensive line. So we're looking forward to that. We'll be right back after this brief break.
Awesome. Ready to go straight into the next part?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And go.
Welcome back to Lidline Sports. I'm Granville Emerson with my partner, Pepe Bean.
What up? Still here.
Well, we want to take a minute to spotlight the University of Washington Huskies that were drafted in the 2017 NFL Draft. Last week we talked about John Ross, the number 1 Husky picked in the draft, going number 9.
Yes,
Cincinnati. And signed a new contract. His contract is nice. 4 years, $17 million.
Okay.
10 years guaranteed.
I thought the rookies had slots.
4 years,
okay.
$17 million.
That's his slot?
That's his slot.
All right.
$10 million guaranteed.
Go ahead, man.
That's a nice contract.
It is. I ain't mad at it.
So he'll be playing wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. I would imagine that they are really, really high on him. I mean, drafted him 9 for sure, but high on him. But to give him a contract like that,
and plus, teaming up with A.J. Green, man, he can only learn and get better and get great.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not going to have double coverage. I mean, you can't double cover everybody.
No.
You definitely got to double cover A.J. Green.
For sure.
So he gives people problems. And so I know Andy Dalton is happy. I mean, that's a lot of speed to have, too.
Man.
Speed
kills.
I mean, because John Ross is not only fast, he runs good routes and he can catch.
Yes, and he's elusive. I mean, he gets yards after
He gets
the
yards
catch.
after
That's
the catch.
Key.
Yeah.
Man.
And so he'll probably be returning kicks, maybe punts.
Right.
And so, yeah, John Ross in Cincinnati, that's a good deal. And then
Yeah, it's bad for me because I got to play him twice a year with the Steelers.
you out there playing?
Well, you know what I mean. I'm out there in spirit, folks. You best believe.
You out there suiting up?
When the Steelers are playing, I'm playing too. I'm sweating and
you got your shoulder pads and your helmet on, sitting on the couch?
and yakking after the game like everybody else. Shoot.
Then Kevin King went the first pick in the second round to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Tell the folks a little bit about Kevin King.
Oh, Kevin King is he's a big, tall cornerback, 6'3", long arms, not physical, but he can stay with his man and he can get to the ball, and that's key. That's what Green Bay likes. Seattle didn't pick him because he's not physical, the kind of physical corner that they like. So that's, people were saying, well, how come the Seahawks didn't take him if he's so good? Because teams have a certain player or kind of player that they like. Every team does this. So he might be high on one team's board, but not so high on another team's board. Not because of his talent, but it's because of what they want in their system.
Yeah, he spent most of last year in the shadow of Sidney Jones, but Sidney Jones was hurt in his pro day, and all
he tore his Achilles, right?
Yeah, all eyes fell on Kevin King.
And Philly picked up Sidney Jones, so they might have gotten a good, a steal.
Yeah, Kevin King tore up the combine, and that's where he got his cheddar at the NFL Combine. You're true. You're correct in the Seahawks. They play press coverage. They look for more physical receivers. Kevin King's more tactical. He is a ball hawk.
Right. Finesse.
Yeah, he gets to the ball, and he is a great cover guy. The third Husky picked in the NFL draft was my guy, safety Buda Baker, probably the most versatile of all the Husky DBs.
Right.
All three of them being selected in the second round. Arizona, the Cardinals traded up to get Buda Baker.
Yes. Man. Buda Baker, I remember him in high school. He did everything. He played offense, defense, water boy. He drove the coach home. No, he did it all.
He did everything at Bellevue High School,
right.
Playing for the Bellevue Wolverines.
And Miles Jack.
Yeah, and I remember when he had first committed to Oregon, I'm like, that dude can't go to Oregon. I was mad.
Hey, speaking of Oregon real quick, do you know they did not have one player drafted?
Yay. Let's pop bottles. One. Let the confetti fall.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that.
But Buda Baker, he can play both ways.
Right.
He can play offensive and defense. It'll be interesting to see if they use him in some offensive scenarios. I doubt it, but it's possible. You never can count those things out with the way people try to come up with schemes for other
Arians
teams.
Seems to be kind of a
he's innovative.
Tinkerer.
Yeah, he's an innovative guy, and so that could happen. But I'm looking for them. He played safety in college. I'm looking for them to put him in that hybrid safety nickelback.
Right.
And I thought that he would be a great pick for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Because our problem, as good as the Legion of Boom has been, our problem, to me, has not been with dudes on the outside. It's been with dudes in the slot.
Right.
Slot dudes kill us. And the only dude that we have that I've seen effectively guard dudes in the slot has been Jeremy Lane.
Right.
So if Jeremy Lane is hurt, we're getting killed. And that basically was the second Super Bowl.
Listen, if Jeremy Lane had not got hurt in the Super Bowl, they wouldn't have lost.
Yeah,
because they had to put Simon on Edelman, and Edelman destroyed him. Simon he played like 3 or 4 games all season, and you got him in the Super Bowl trying to guard Edelman. That did not work.
at all. I mean,
and kudos to New England for recognizing that. Say, man, we don't.
you know, when he went out, it was blood in the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that was a catastrophic.
Got to go after
injury,
the weak link.
I mean, he tore his knee and broke his arm on
Yeah.
one play.
Yeah, it was very difficult to watch. I'm glad to see that he's made it back. It'll be interesting to see how the Legion of Boom comes around this year. Like I said,
Well, they need to get their mojo back. That's for sure.
yeah,
Especially with Earl coming back
yeah,
from injury.
yeah. We need another guy on the other side of Richard Sherman.
Definitely.
And so, like we said last week, we hope that will be the new guy, Shaquille
Griffin.
Shaquille Griffin. They call him, or he calls himself Keel.
Yes.
And Keel Griffin will be able to step up right away,
Right.
and play that spot, or at least hold it down until Deshaun Shedd gets all the way back.
That's not likely though.
He's supposed to be back by the 4th or 6th week of the season.
That's 6 weeks. That's almost half the season.
Yeah, I'm saying hold it down until he gets back.
Okay.
It's not the whole season, not even half the season.
Right, but he's still listen.
As long as
He still has to get in the groove though.
Yeah,
I mean,
so we
you just
need-
don't come back and be good.
that's why we need Keel Griffin to hold it down until he's back, Pep.
Right.
Right?
I got you, man.
You know, we're talking about going to the Super Bowl, man. We're not talking about just playing 16 games.
Okay.
Right?
Somebody getting all fired up. Well, I'm seeing flames.
Come on, man. Fired up and
Man.
ready to get the
See some extra
NFL
curl on
season
that fro.
started. That curl activator.
Yeah.
Just let your soul go.
Oh boy.
Anyway, Sidney Jones was drafted in the 2nd round by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
A good pickup. The Eagles are going to be tough.
Yeah, they come to Seattle too
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
to get waxed.
I was glad to see Sidney Jones get drafted in the 2nd round. Before he got hurt, he was a legitimate
First
round pick.
Definitely.
Arguably would have been the first defensive back drafted,
Sure.
right?
Probably.
Yeah. So glad to see him drafted. Hoping for a great career for that young man. Just a travesty in the last activity during his pro day at the University of Washington. He tore his Achilles, and man, that's just hurtful.
It is.
And to, I mean, you know, tear it during OTAs after you get your contract. You know what I mean?
No, man, don't tear it at all, please.
Well, I'm saying if
No.
you got to tear it, you can tear it after you're the 1st round pick. Don't tear it before you get, like, right before the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you didn't plan it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you could plan it, you wouldn't have planned it then. That's for sure. And so it's good to see that he was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, and not only him by the Philadelphia Eagles, but defensive lineman Elijah Quarles of the University of Washington with the 216th pick of the draft in the 6th round. Quarles finally was drafted. He was projected higher than that. I don't know why his draft stock fell to way down there, but I think that Philly's going to get a good defensive lineman in Quarles and a guy that's really driven to make the team, a guy that's really driven to prove that he should have gotten drafted higher, and he is
Proverbial chip on your shoulder.
yeah, and he is going to be right with Sidney Jones,
Okay.
his Huskies teammate, both of them
South Philly.
determined to prove themselves in the NFL. So we look forward to seeing how who do you think will be the best of that bunch in the NFL?
Oh wow. You know what? I'm gonna go with Buddha. I'm gonna go on a limb and say Buddha.
You gonna say Buddha Baker?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Buddha. I like Buddha. I grew up with his father and his aunts, so you know I got an affection for the guy.
Yeah. I heard that Buddha had quite the draft party over there in Mount Baker.
Yeah.
I heard folks talking about it. Like somebody must have got drafted.
Hey, more power.
Hey,
I'm glad.
I
I'm
know.
happy for him.
Me too. I'm mad I didn't get the invitation.
Man, I know, right?
I know, right?
Can't invite everybody though.
Yeah, you sure can. You're listening to Lidline Sports with Granville Emerson and Renault Pepe Bean.
Pepe.
One thing I like about watching the NBA playoffs, Pep, is I'm watching live television, and I don't really like commercials, and the NBA playoffs forces me to watch TV live. I usually just DVR everything and fast forward through the commercials. But the insurance commercials, man, they are coming with it.
Yeah.
This commercial, progressive new commercial, it's a spin of on soap operas. Have you seen it? And my favorite line in it, the dude goes, what? Wasn't I with you, the only one with you when you had amnesia? And she goes, I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah, I did see that one. I saw that the other night.
It's like, I don't remember that. I don't know, man. Those commercials are good, man. The Geico commercials. What's your favorite Geico commercial?
Man, I can't think of one right offhand. There's been so many of them.
Yeah,
you got the gecko, and those are okay. You got the ones where they're
Geico is diversified.
Yeah, they got all kinds. I like the progressive too. I actually like that box. That progressive box,
yeah,
because I liked his rap, because that music was nice. I've been trying to find that.
The music was banging.
It was. And then when he was at the prom where he was doing the Roblox, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, you can miss me with the Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan State Farm commercials.
Yeah,
those are hokey as heck.
Right.
But
you crashed the glass, you handle the paint.
Yeah, that one with Dave Miller. Yeah, that's whack. Mm-hmm. But the GOAT, the all-time greatest of all time to me, is Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake?
Khakis. He sounds hideous.
Yeah. Well, he's a guy.
So
State Farm, if you want to hire us next, we're open.
So in the NBA playoffs, the Cavs have swept the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, we all saw that coming.
Yeah, I mean, that is why I said I would rather see Cleveland play the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right.
Because I wanted to see LeBron James
and the Greek Freak
versus Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Right.
Are we saying
Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. Y'all know that by now.
We both do. So that's all right.
The Greek Freak. All right. I wanted to see, because it's not really about, like, now watching, if you want to watch the NBA playoffs, when you're watching Cleveland play somebody or you're watching Golden State play somebody, you got to find something to watch inside the game.
Right.
Because you know what the outcome is going to be. You know that Cleveland's going to win. You know that Golden State is going to win.
Right. And anybody can watch Durant, Curry, Clay, LeBron, Kyrie, Love. You can and we can watch those all day. But what are you seeing from JaVale McGee? What are you seeing from Tristan Thompson? Guys that you don't normally look for.
I haven't seen anything from JaVale McGee lately. Has he done anything in the playoffs?
Yeah, has he had to?
No, he hasn't. But you talking about people watching him.
No, but
I'm talking about not watching them dudes. I'm talking about watching the stars on the other team.
Right.
And what they're going to do. Like, how are they going to, what is DeMar DeRozan going to do to help his team win? What did he do? He didn't do anything to me. But after the series was over, say, well, if LeBron was on our team, we would have won. Duh.
That's the silliest thing I ever heard. Man, miss me.
That is weak.
Yeah. And now, of course, Kyle Lowry opts out.
Yeah.
Well, duh.
Yeah. Now he wants to go to a West Coast team, right? So I guess the East is not as weak as people were saying it is, right?
Right.
But if we had LeBron on our team, yeah, right.
That's the silliest thing I ever heard, man.
I don't know. Man.
I mean, if the Sonics had Jordan in '96, they'd be champions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if for fists, we'd all be drunk.
Yeah.
If we're drinking.
I'm drinking.
So I wanted to see the Greek Freak versus LeBron. I wanted to see if LeBron could do what he does against everybody else against him, and I wanted to see how he would get his buckets, because the freak is long, he plays good defense, and I wanted to see if he could limit LeBron and make someone else step up.
Right.
And win it for the Cavs.
Well, we'll never know this year.
We won't know, but nobody is stopping LeBron right now. He's just doing whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it.
Definitely.
And proving that he is the greatest player in the league.
Yeah, and you know, at 32 right now, he's probably playing his best basketball.
Yeah, that's amazing, too, for as many minutes as he's played.
Yeah.
11 straight playoff series wins.
Props for that.
Man, that dude, whew. And then on the other side, you got the Golden State Warriors sweeping the Utah Jazz. I like Utah. They got a good young team with Rudy Gobert and Gordon Hayward and Derek Favors.
Well, I like two of those. I kind of disagree with you on Favors. I don't think he's all that. I think he's a bust, actually. I remember when the Nets took him when they were with Jersey. After 2 years, they couldn't wait to get rid of him. Then he went to Utah, and you know he's a work in progress. But I think he's in his like 4th or 5th year by now, and he played one good game. He played a great Game 7 against the Clippers to close them out. But since then, he's averaged about 3 points a game. You know, so he's not bringing it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, okay, I'll give you that. But Gobert and Hayward are fun to watch.
Oh yeah,
they are really fun to watch. And
Hayward's legit.
Yeah.
And Gobert is
he's
good
legit
deep.
as well.
Yeah.
So far, the series to watch is the Celtics and the Wizards, which I told you would probably go 7 games. Right. IT with 53. Ooh-wee, man. Was he getting buckets?
Man. Well, he was doing what he does. I mean, he gets buckets all the time.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, for us up here in the Northwest, we're used to seeing that. I mean, for the folks, nationally, they're getting a taste of what we've been knowing about for a long time.
On every level. I remember seeing him getting 51 against Franklin High School in the state tournament.
Right.
And I was like, look at this little dude getting 51 points. It was incredible.
Because he was smaller then.
Yeah. and even against the Wizards, it was incredible, the 53 points that he got that night. And so I said before, that series boils down to John Wall and Bradley Beal being effective. Beal had been missing, but he finally stepped up.
Right.
He says that his mom goes off on him after he has a bad game. Well,
he's getting texts as he's walking towards the locker room.
She must have really went off on him after game 2 because he stunk it up. So he's been good since then. And so that is a good series to watch. The San Antonio Houston series is a good series to watch, even though Nene is out now, so that shifts it a little bit.
No Parker for San Antonio, no Nene for Houston.
But they got my guy, DeJounte Murray, rookie, out of Washington, Rainier Beach High School, getting his baptism by fire into the NBA playoffs.
Welcome, son.
Yeah, he's holding his own. Holding his own. I mean, he's not out there doing anything spectacular, but he's holding his own, playing a solid 15 minutes a game.
Right.
And so he's learning. And so I had many conversations with people on message boards and group boards and Facebook saying that he should have stayed in college. And I'm like, nah, man. If you projected to go out in the first round in the top 15, where he got to go. Even though he fell to 29, he fell to a great organization.
And he's still
the San Antonio
first rounder, and that's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So he did the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I'm looking forward to continuing to watch the local products, Isaiah Thomas with the Boston Celtics.
Right, but the only thing about these two series is they're blowing each other out. Whoever wins is winning by blowout. We're not getting any close games.
Yeah.
And, right now the series is tied, of course.
They'll get closer. They
better be.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so we'll keep watching that. Those are the two series to watch.
But like I said earlier in the broadcast, they're beating each other up. You got the Warriors waiting, and you got the Cavs waiting to feast on the leftovers.
What's going down in the town? The Seattle T-Birds.
Yes, Western Hockey League. They're in the finals for the second year in a row. They lost last year to the Brandon Wheat Kings in 5 games, but 3 of those games were in overtime. And so, you know, they learned a little bit. I mean, they won the first game in this series in overtime, 14 seconds in.
Yeah, well, we're hoping that they win the championship and having yet another champion in Seattle during this 365-day span along with the Seattle Sounders.
They got 3 straight games at Kent.
And before we get out of here, we got just a few minutes to talk about Brandon Roy. I do not know what's going on with that whole situation. It was said that he was shot outside his grandmother's house, and then folks said that he wasn't shot and that it was another Brandon Roy, and I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
Why doesn't he come forward and tell somebody what's going on?
That's what I don't understand. He hasn't said a word.
I don't know either. I mean, I've heard lately now that there were some dudes that were after him, and that's how he got shot. And so they say it was a drive-by, and that he protected some kids and got shot in the butt and in the hamstring.
Who in the heck is after him in L.A.?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm like, were they trying to rob him? What's going on? I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why he's not stepping up and talking about it. It makes no sense to me. The whole thing is crazy.
It is.
And so I'm glad that Brandon is all right.
Yes.
I'm hoping that it's not true that somebody is after him. I don't know why anybody would be after him, but I don't know his business.
No.
And so I don't know what's going down with any or all of that. And so something's going down. I had a friend that got shot in the park in Inglewood about 3 weeks ago on a drive-by. So at first I thought that might have been it. A similar situation, right? But now it seems like there's more to it. And so from his players calling him and him telling his players that he wasn't shot and them posting on Twitter that he wasn't shot and then them taking it down off Twitter and then now folks telling me that folks was after him and all of that, and he did get shot, and all of that. It's just a mess, and not a good look. And I hope that Brandon, whatever is going on, that he resolves. If there was an issue, is an issue, that he remains safe and healthy, and not anything further happen.
Right. And he's another one that I don't know personally, but I know his family very well. I know his dad. I know his uncles, you know, his aunts. You know, I know that family. So it's
on behalf of Renault Pepe Bean, I'm Granville Emerson. Thank you for listening to Lidline Sports. You can listen to Lidline Sports on Facebook, YouTube, and find us on Twitter at Lidline Sports. Join us again next week for more great sports talk radio on Lidline Sports. Sports as we see it,
just below our lid.
Perfect. Excellent.
All right, thanks. I don't know about excellent.